Parkinsons. Today is Make It Monday, and for Make It Monday we're going to make Wheaton bread. Wheaton bread is an Irish soda bread. This is my Aunt Beth's recipe, and I haven't made it before myself because she was always gracious enough to bring loaves over to Mom and Dad, and I'd get a piece there. Haven't had it in years, but I saw the recipe the other day when I was looking through my book. I said I'm going to give it a try. So what I have in here, I have 1 3/4 cups of white flour, and then I'm going to add to that 1 cup of wheat flour. So I have the 2 types of flour then, and I'm just going to give that a little stir. And then I'm going to add in a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of salt, I have pink Himalayan salt, and 1 tablespoon of sugar. So I'm going to mix that in there, and that'll give it the dry ingredients. So, and then the next part, you want to put in 1/4 cup of margarine. Now, we almost had a disaster because I almost put 1/4 pound of margarine in here, but I caught myself in time, thankfully. So now I've got that in here, and it says just to cut it in. Well, I don't have like a pastry cutter, so I'm just going to use a couple of forks and my fingers, and that'll do it just fine. So we'll just get that. Can you see? Yes, you can see in there. Okay, so now I just want to, I'm going to put my hands in here and actually crumble it, because once I got this started, then it's best to just get in there with your hands. All right, so if your hands worked really good, it would be very simple, but mine don't work quite as good, so I have to take a little extra care. You want just to make this to look sort of sandy. All right. Now, with this, okay, then I need 1 1/2 cups of buttermilk. Now, I don't keep fresh buttermilk in the house because when I go to make a recipe that needs buttermilk, it never uses the whole container, and then I waste some of it. So, or I'm looking for what am I going to make with that. So anyway, I buy dry buttermilk powder, 1 tablespoon of powder to 1/2 cup of water. That gives you buttermilk. So that's just the way I do it. So I need 1 1/2 cups of buttermilk. So I put 1 1/2 cups of water in here, cold water, and then I added 3 tablespoons of the buttermilk mixture, and mix it up. And that gives you the buttermilk. So now I'm going to mix that together. And it should be pretty much what I need. I might need a little bit more flour, but you want to just look at it and see how you're doing. We are at a high elevation here, so things change just a little bit from the high elevation. Okay, I'm going to put just a little bit more regular flour on my hands, and I want to knead that for just a couple of minutes. So let me just grab a little bit more flour, and I will be right there. I don't drop this all over the floor. Whew. Okay, now let me just sprinkle that little bit of flour in there. Turn this over. Sprinkle a little bit on top of it. And then I just want to knead this in there for just a couple minutes. This is one of those breads that my auntie used to make because my dad loved it. And she'd make it and bring a loaf over, and boy, Dad was always in his glory when he got that. If I could talk to him now, I would tell him I was making it. But I can't talk to him now. He doesn't respond on the phone, so I'm so glad that Gary's able to go in and be with him, but okay, so once that's like that, then you just want to form it into a nice little loaf. With sort of a circle, because you're going to just cut it in a bit of a circle. Okay, I'm going to make mine a little bit oblong, just like that. I think I should put a little flour on my parchment, just so that it doesn't stick at all. Okay. So now that's like that. And I'm going to bake it in the oven at 415 for 30 minutes. So I'm going to pop that in the oven, and in 30 minutes I will, well, about 45 because I want it to cool just a little bit before I bring it back. And I'll bring it back and show you how it is. Well, you don't normally get a story on Make It Monday, but I'm going to tell you what happened to me today, because this is how my stories come about. I was making my Wheaton and filming it today, and at the same time, my husband said, could you make me some sugar cookies? I've never made sugar cookies before, but I said, sure, I'll do that. So I watched a YouTube about how to do it, and I wrote the recipe down. It told me to put the dry ingredients in a bowl and put the wet ingredients together, beat it really, really well so that it all comes up. Add the eggs and the vanilla, and it sounded really easy. My brain cannot do two things at one time. So while I was doing the Wheaton, when it was getting ready and whatnot in the oven, I started the other thing. Well, the first thing I did was I put the dry ingredients in a bowl, and then I started to add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients, which meant that I did not cream the butter and sugar together and then add the eggs. So when I started to put those things into the mix, it was like dry. It wasn't coming together like a dough. So I realized what I had done. And I said, I'm going to have to waste all these ingredients. So you got to understand, there was 4 cups of flour. There was a half a pound of butter, and I used real butter, not margarine. And there was a cup of sugar in the one part of it, and then in the other part there was another half a cup of sugar. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have done this. But anyway, I said to Bill, I've wasted all these ingredients. I don't know what else I can do with them, and I hate wasting. Anyway, so I got rid of all those ingredients, and I started again. And I did them all. I did the method exactly as I was supposed to do. I brought them out of the oven. I went to taste one. Now, these are not very sweet. I had put the sugar in part of it and not the other part. Like I put it into the dry ingredients, and I hadn't put it into I put it into the wet ingredients because it was supposed to cream with the butter, but I forgot to put it in the dry ingredients. So the cookies didn't have a very sweet taste. They're okay, but they didn't have a sweet taste. So I thought, how am I going to rescue this one? So then I made a little bit of icing, and I have put icing on the top of it, and it sweetened it up a little bit, yes. I haven't given it to Bill yet. He was down having coffee, but I'm not making them a third time. I'm just not doing it. But anyway, that's how my stories come about. That's how it happens. My brain cannot do 2 things at one time. I used to be able to do so many things. But anyway, just thought I'd pop that in here and give you that sort of a little giggle about it. Okay, see you later. Okay, we're back. I've got the loaf, pardon the mess on the table. I'm also making sugar cookies right now for Bill, so I have other things on the table here. So this is what the loaf looks like. I cut it in half so that I can show you the insides. I'm going to just bring it up. Just put this one around like this. Okay. There you can see it's just a rustic type of bread there. And it is such a nice loaf of bread. It's really, really nice. So I thought that maybe anybody that likes to make easy bread just to put on the table for supper would like something like that. It's like a crusty bread. All right, we'll see you all tomorrow.